Do you know Wetherby? I won't tell you which hotel it was in, but it was that big one on the roundabout. And I'm doing this 2-day presentation skills course, and during the first day I got chatting to the duty manager about service and care and attention, the things that he did, and so nice guy, put him about 26, 27. So the next morning I arrive at 7:30 and I'm rigging stuff up, and he came in, he said, "Was everything okay yesterday, Mr. Hesketh?" I said, "Yeah, everything was okay." He says, "Is that what they get you to do at Jarvis?" Because that's where it is. He said, "Yeah." I said, "Is that the word they ask you to say? Okay." He said, "Yeah, pretty much." I said, "If I came here for a meal one night, and as I was leaving with my wife, you said to me, 'How was the meal?' and I said, 'It was okay.' What would you think?" He said, "Oh, I wouldn't think it was very good, really." So I said, "Okay's got baggage, hasn't it?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, why don't you say something like, 'Was everything fantastic?'" And he said, "Well, I couldn't do that, it's too American." And I said, "Well, how about an open question, like, 'How was everything yesterday?'" He said, "I know what you mean." He said, "I just feel a lot better just saying, 'Is everything okay?'" I said, "Do you want to be the best manager there is?" He said, "No." I said, "Why not?" He said, "I want to be a pilot." You got no chance, have you? Anyway, I'll tell you this story about the goddess decreed that she would have a new car. She got a Rover 25, little hatchback, and it's about 3 or 4 years old, and she's not happy with this Rover, so could I come with her and help her buy a car? Yeah. Now, to explain, I've got 3 sons. Number 1 and number 3 son are very similar, and they like running about a lot. Number 2 is built for comfort. Number 2 plays the guitar, semi-professionally. I used to play the guitar. I was good enough to know I wasn't good enough. And number 1 and number 2 son share a car. Number 3, who's 17 years old and learning to drive, he shares a car with the goddess. And they've got this little Rover 25. So off we went, and we had a day looking at various car showrooms. And eventually we went to the Volkswagen dealer. So we turned up at the Volkswagen dealer, and a young woman, well, it turned out subsequently, she's 23 years old, she's called Lorna. She approached us, "Hello, can I help you?" Which is a lousy thing to say in retail, really, isn't it? I mean, when somebody says, "Can I help you?" what's the first thing you say? "No, thanks." So I said, she hadn't been on a course, you know. She said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes, we're looking for a car." And to use my son's expression, she is, and I quote, "well put together, Lorna." And so she got chatting to my wife about what my wife wants. She was doing a very, very good job of selling. She wasn't persuading us to do anything. She was just influencing us. And we got chatting about what she wanted, and she said, "I think the right car for you might be the Volkswagen Polo. Would you like to have a look at the Polo?" Yeah, so my wife got in the Polo. Have you ever done this, where you sit in a car? You don't know what you're doing, do you? You've got no idea what you're doing. It's got a speedo, it's got a gear knob. What are you doing? And my wife's doing this thing. She said, "I like this one, shall we have this?" I said, "Well, let's have a test drive." She said, "Okay, fine." So Lorna gave us a test drive, and she was very nice, very polite, Lorna. And when we came back, Lorna's being ever so helpful, and my wife is sat here, Lorna's here, and my wife is giving what might be described as buying signals. Now, let me ask you 2 questions. Firstly, who's got the money? There's only one correct answer to this question, if you're Lorna. And secondly, would you close the sale? See, a lot of people, A, make an assumption about who's got the money, and B, close the sale there and then, and you shouldn't do that. There's only one correct answer to who's got the money, and the answer is, you don't know. That's the only answer. And she does the right thing in not closing the sale. And she's done this great job of getting on with my wife, and she's moved from what I call ritual and cliche in the outer circle. If you met somebody for the first time today, you typically talked about the weather and the traffic and how Junction 6 is closed and all that stuff, yeah? As you get to know people better, just like the outside of an orchestra where the outside has got drums and percussion, you're just a banging noise. If you move inside, you get where the brass are, and then you get a bit of a tune, and you talk about events and judgments and ideas. Then eventually you discuss how people feel. That's when you get into the oboes and the flutes. Now, you don't want to get to the violins, because you don't want to fall in love with anybody. But she's doing a really good job. So, well, not anybody. I mean, you know, I love my kids, do you? My number 3, the 17-year-old, he said, "I want to look after monkeys, Dad." I said, "Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I just want to look after monkeys." Now, I'm not a motivational speaker, yeah, because I don't think motivation is something you can do to someone. But last time I was speaking here, I was in a hall just around the corner, about 300 people. I'm on at 2 o'clock. "Can you do that thing about the earth and the moon and the sun? Do that one about Pan's people and motivate them?" I said, "Well, I'm not a motivational speaker." When people say, "Oh, you're a professional speaker, like a motivational speaker," I said, "No, I don't think motivation is something you can do to someone. I'm a professional business speaker. I speak on the psychology of persuasion. I speak on what the difference is between persuasion and influence." Then we get into conversation. But last time I was here, I don't get nervous doing this, but I have to get in the zone, right? Like 2 minutes before I go on, I have to get in the zone. What am I doing here? What am I doing to focus, you know? So I'm doing that, and someone said, oh, you need to get mic'd up, little clip-on mic. Okay, yeah, fine. So I went round the back, and this guy called John round the back, who's got a Birmingham accent. And he said, are you the motivational speaker then? In a Birmingham accent. That is not an accent, is it? That's a speech impediment, don't you think? So, he said, are you the motivational speaker? And I couldn't be bothered to do that. Well, it's not an expression I use, because I said, yes. He said, can you motivate me? I said, what is it you want to do? He said, I don't know. He said, I just need motivating. I thought, he summed it up. People are motivated to do what they want to do. So yeah, so my son goes off to Africa, and I never forget taking him to the airport this summer. And I hugged him. You should never stop hugging your kids, should you? I love my kids. I think the most persuasive thing you can ever say to anybody, I'll just tell you this, I still haven't started yet, but I'll tell you this. The single most persuasive thing you can ever say to anybody is, I'll tell you what I like about you. People love it. The second most persuasive thing you can ever say to anybody is, I'll tell you what I think you're really good at. If you don't remember anything else out of this whole day, just remember that. But it's got a flaw, and I need to tell you about the flaw. So you go home tonight, and I want you to use this tonight. Use it with your significant other or whoever you live with. If you don't live with anyone, phone a friend. So you go home tonight and you say, I'll tell you what I like about you. Say, what is it? I don't know, some bloke told me to say it at a seminar. That doesn't work then, does it? So you have to know what's coming next, don't you? So I gave him a hug and I said, I love you, you know. He said, it's reciprocal. And that's about as good as you're going to get from a 17-year-old, isn't it? So Lorna does this great thing. She says, tell me, Mrs. Hesketh, what's the most important thing for you about a car? And she says, you know what I hate about cars, Lorna? Now, I've been married to the goddess for 30 years. I don't know what she's going to say. She says, I hate with a passion having my car serviced. She says, why is that? She says, because I hate dirty men with dirty fingernails leering at me. I hate them whispering and looking with their eyes. I know what they're doing with their eyes. I hate it. I'm from Ashton-under-Lyne. Does anybody know Ashton? Has anybody been to Ashton? What's it like? Grim, I think that word was, yeah? That's why I want to change the weather in February. It's grim. I've got this satellite navigation system now, and I've got this really posh woman. Turn left at the next roundabout. Take your next right turn. And I live in Harrogate now in Yorkshire, which is quite posh. And I thought, I'll go to Ashton and see my mum and dad, see if it works. So turn left, junction 22, Ripponton Road. A627 towards Oldham. Then she said, you were approaching Ashton-under-Lyne. Drive on. So, she says, I hate it with a passion. I hate it. She said, how many miles a year do you do? She said, I do 3,000 miles a year. She said, this car only needs servicing every 10,000 miles. If you only own this car for 3 years, you'll never have to have it serviced. If you own it for more than 3 years or do more than 10,000 miles, I will personally come pick the car up. Get in. Don't you think? She's establishing my wife's emotional need. Because buying a car isn't about getting from A to B, it's about establishing emotional needs. And then Lorna did a better thing. She says, tell me, Mr. Hesketh, what are you most interested in? And I said, because I'm stood there, I said, I like my wife, Lorna, which is a great thing, guys, incidentally, just a top tip that when she's there. I said, I like my wife, Lorna. I certainly won't like my 17-year-old. If I had my own way, I would have a man with a red flag walking in front of this car to stop it going fast. What I'm interested in is safety. She said, this is the only car under £10,000 with side airbags. Get in. Don't you think? So I then said, let's go and think about it. Now, what she should say, if you don't remember anything else, remember this bit. If anybody ever says, I want to think about it, you say this. I agree you should think about it. Always agree with an objection. When somebody says it's expensive, you say, yes, it is. But look at what you get. Who's ever spent more than £20 on a watch? Put your hand up if you've ever spent more than £20 on a watch. Why? It tells the time, doesn't it? See, some people buy things they don't need with money they haven't got to impress people they don't like. I was staying in the Hyatt Regency last night. It's lovely, the Hyatt Regency. £300 for a room. Last year, I was in the Premier Travel Inn. 50 quid for a room. Is the Hyatt Regency 6 times better? Is the bed 6 times bigger? Is it 6 times more comfy? Is the water 6 times hotter? Is the bath 6? No! It's just nicer. Nice is expensive, and expensive is nice. It's just how it is. When my wife and I go to New Zealand every year, I work in New Zealand in February. Has anybody been to New Zealand in February? What's the weather like? Lovely, isn't it? I've changed the weather for me. Somebody said to me just earlier on, they said, how do you get to be a speaker in New Zealand? I said, you buy a ticket. And we have to elect to go business class or economy. Do you know how much it costs? Do you know what the premium is for two of us to go to New Zealand and back every year? See, most times the clients pay. Business class or economy, nice hotel, cheap hotel, most times the clients pay. What you get when you spend more money, you don't get much more in logical, tangible benefit. What you do get is more in emotional, illogical, intangible benefit. Because it's nice. That's what brands are about. The purpose of a brand is to charge a premium and have emotional attachment. That's the purpose of a brand. So, quite profound that, wasn't it? So, do you know what the secret of happiness is? It took me to 50, I'm 53, and it took me to that stage to realize what it is. I used to employ a lot of people. And I used to say, what will make you happy? They used to say, I'll be happy when I get a Golf GTI. I'll be happy when I'm on 35 grand a year. I'll be happy when I'm in that big office. I'll be happy I'll be happy when I. Worthy? No. I want to play live with Ralph McTell. So I wrote to Ralph McTell, Dear Ralph, you don't know me, but my son Daniel and I would like to play live with you at Pickering Town Hall. We bought 2 tickets, we're on the front row. Can we join you on stage if we bring our own guitars and play Nana's song? Now, I didn't hear anything. If you were me, would you take the guitars? If you want to win the lottery, you got to buy a ticket. So I didn't tell Daniel, because he's only 20, I don't want him getting all nervous, but I put the guitars in the boot, just in case. Now, I didn't take the guitars into the concert, because you look all right, wazzock, wouldn't you, walking in with 2 guitars? But I'll never forget walking into the concert hall, and I'm literally walking past the stage, because I'm going to be sat in the front row, and I'm looking to see if there's 3 guitars and 3 stools and 3 mics. And there's not. There's 1 guitar and 1 stool and 1 mic. And Ralph, has anybody heard of Ralph McTell? Can you name me one of his songs? Excellent. Streets of London. Can you name me another? No. This guy's done 17 albums and got 1 hit. So he's up there and he said, I'd like to do a medley of my hit. So he does his little Streets of London thing. And then he says, I got this great letter the other day. He put his guitar down. And he's got a music stand. I said, I got this great letter the other day, this guy called Phil. And he wrote to me and he said, Dear Ralph, you don't know me, but my son Daniel and I would like to play live with you at Pickering Town Hall. We'll bring our own guitars. Can we play Nana's song for you? And he's laughing, and the audience are laughing, tittering, thinking, wazzock, you know. And Daniel, my son, is going, is that us, Dad? It's like, yeah. So well, you don't get, you don't ask, do you? You know? So he said, I don't do that. I haven't played live with anybody ever. He said, I've never been in a band. I don't do requests, and I haven't done Nana's song for about 5 years. He says, but tonight, for Phil and Dan, wherever you are, we were there. This is for you. Isn't that nice? And he did Nana's song. It's amazing what you get when you ask.